What you're looking at here, my friends, is Fifth Avenue. Fifth Avenue going all the way up into Manhattan. And we're actually at the corner of, if you look right there, East 8th Street and Fifth Avenue. By the way, this building here, just as a side note, Buddy Holly once lived here before he died. I found that out in that Buddy Holly box set that I had. It had a picture of this building in it. So, in case you're ever in New York's Greenwich Village on the 5th Avenue and 8th Street, you can see where Buddy Holly's apartment building was. But what I'm making a video of today is that at the base of 5th Avenue and 8th Street, right where 5th Avenue ends, you have a little park. It's called Washington Square Park. And I thought I would go for a little walk through Washington Square Park today with the camera. Now, by the way, it's kind of very overcast. It looks like it's actually about to rain. So I'm not sure how long I will last with this video, but because it might start raining all of a sudden. So anyway, Washington Square Park has a lot of interest and a lot of history to it for New York City. By the way, there's this little alley here before you get into the park, which now is like a really nice place to live over here. And even though it's like nice apartments and everything, this is actually was where they used to keep horses. They used to keep horses in these buildings over there. They were actually stables for horses. We didn't always have cars in this city. We used to get around in horses. So, thought I'd point that out. Anyway, as we're walking down this block here, we're getting close to one of the iconic features of the park, as well as one of the iconic features of New York City, which is the Washington Square Park Arch. Now, this arch here actually was originally built out of wood. It was actually across the street. It was actually here, in this area before you cross the street. As you can see, this is the end of Fifth Avenue. All of Fifth Avenue ends right here, and you gotta either make a right or you gotta make a left. In the old days, you used to be able to go through that park, to go through that arch. Traffic would actually go through this arch and come out on the other side of the park. It doesn't do that anymore. But anyway, they're actually doing a lot of work here. They've been digging up this park like crazy for the past few weeks. I think they must be installing something. But anyway, this arch was actually originally built across the street right there. And then for the 100th centennial of the United States, or of the, actually it wasn't, I found out recently, it wasn't the 100th centennial of the United States, it was the 100th centennial of George Washington's birth. So here you have some nice sculptures of George Washington. But anyway, to finish the story, it was so successful that they raised the funds and they went across the street and they built this arch, which is the more permanent arch made out of stone that you see today. And once again, it's got these nice sculptures of George Washington on the front. There's also some nice sayings of his on the other side. So this is a great feature of the park, kind of reminiscent of, let's say, the Arc de Triomphe in Paris, but much different. Here we're coming to the other side of it. Now, usually in this park, there's a heck of a lot of live music going on all over the place, of really, really good quality live music. Now, today, there's not really I don't see many performers out, and that might have something to do with the fact that it looks like it's about to rain. So here you see the arch over here, and you can see all of Fifth Avenue, including you look hard enough up there, you see the Empire State Building. It's a little bit cloudy out, so you don't see much of it, but there's the Empire State Building. And if you turn over here, you enter this area, which is where, here's a guy making balloons over here. Kind of makes balloons. That one looks like a frog. But anyway, this fountain over here is also very iconic. And usually in the summer, you see a lot of kids playing and waddling around in this fountain, which you don't see either. No musicians and no people waddling around in the fountain. That's very odd. Well, who knows? But in any case, the point being is that this arch, this park was recently renovated, and this arch was actually moved. I'm sorry, this fountain was actually moved. It was actually a little bit over to the left, and they moved it so now it lines up perfectly with the inside of the arch. So it's in perfect alignment. So that's something. Now talking about music in the park, this has a big music history, this park. The folk scene in the 60s, people would gather here and play all kinds of folk instruments. Bob Dylan is famously from around here after he moved from the Midwest and sort of made his mark in Greenwich Village. He lived on West 4th Street, not too far from here. So you know that Bob Dylan walked through this park many times. It's also been featured in a lot of movies, for example, like Hair. So you can see that there's a view of the arch with the fountain in the background, like that. So now let's take a walk through the rest of the park here. By the way, this is called Judson Memorial Church. It was designed by McKim, Mead & White, a very famous architecture firm that built a lot of well-known architecture in New York. This was one of their early projects. We're talking about a long time ago, like 100 years ago or so. And many of these other buildings are owned by NYU because really this is the campus of New York University. Here you have some what look like Buddhist nuns walking by, enjoying their little stroll through Washington Square Park. But so what we're really in is we're really in the campus of New York University, so which keeps buying more and more real estate around here and converting it to university buildings. So anyway, let's take a walk, let's say this way. If we walk this way, we'll see that we're coming up to what's called Thompson Street. Thompson Street is a quintessential Greenwich Village street. Like I said, actually, it's all blocked off now because they're doing work here, which is kind of a shame for the video, but you know, that's life. What can you do? They got to do their work. But anyway, you can see Thompson Street going back there into the downtown towards, I don't know if you could see it there. It's kind of like not too clear because of the clouds, but you can see the Freedom Tower, which is where the World Trade Centers were, which fell. Many people saw the World Trade Centers falling from Washington Square Park, and that is the new Freedom Tower. So just a little thing there. As you walk this way, you'll find that, well, first of all, like I said, they redid a lot of this park recently. And one of the things that they did is they put in these nice new bathrooms. So if you have to have an urgent call of nature while you're in the park, you know, you have somewhere you can go now. And which is right in here. I've actually never gone. I've been lucky that way, but we have that in here. Hopefully they're keeping them nice and good. Here's a guitar player for you. Hey. This guy looks like he's been around since the days of Bob Dylan. Wonder if he ever went home, but actually, I'm sure he did. What you have over here is you have a dog run, which is pretty cool. People bring their dogs into this part of the park, and you can see that they let them run around and have themselves a good time. There's a dog over there walking around, checking out the scene, looking for somebody to play with. So, that's the dog run in Washington Square Park. Coming around here, you'll see one of the most famous things about Washington Square Park. By the way, this is Sullivan Street, another street in Greenwich Village. And this red brick building that you sort of see, that has some scaffolding up, is NYU Law School. This is their law school. So, just in case you ever want to go to law school, you can go to NYU Law School and you'll be right near Washington Square Park. So what's really famous here is that there's like a lot of chess players. They've got these chess players here, sitting here, and you can come over and like for a couple of bucks, you can play a game of chess with them. You can see there's a game of chess right there. It's a little out of focus. So, there you have some people playing chess over here.
Yo. Don't do that.
That guy didn't want me to film him playing chess over there. That has happened to me before. I'm not really sure why they don't want people filming them playing chess, but they don't. So that's cool. Now, I'm actually leaving the park now because what I want to do is this is called West 4th Street here. And West 4th Street is, if you're familiar with Bob Dylan, you know that he has that positively West 4th Street because he lived on West 4th Street. So there's a lot of history here in this part of town as far as the music scene. It wasn't just Bob Dylan, tons of musicians lived around here from all eras of music. This is actually an old church that it's not a church anymore. They converted to apartments, so you could live here if you wanted. I don't know how you'd feel about living in a church, but it kind of would be a nice place to live, I think. Anyway, so we're walking down West 4th Street on our way to the actual building where Bob Dylan lived. I thought that would be an interesting thing to show. It's kind of a long walk here. Actually, it's not a long walk at all, but it's a bit of a walk because you've got to walk through here, and we're really almost there. So we're coming up to what's called 6th Avenue right now, also known as Avenue of the Americas. So here we go. Here we're coming up onto Avenue of the Americas, 6th Avenue. And that is West 4th Street right there. By the way, let's get a shot of 6th Avenue. You can see there's 6th Avenue going uptown. There's a really beautiful old structure right there. It's called the Jefferson Market Library. It used to be a courthouse. Kind of a Victorian style of architecture. If you're ever around here, it's definitely something that you should visit. So here we go. We're crossing 6th Avenue. There you have 6th Avenue looking downtown, with also a nice shot of the Freedom Tower behind the Trump Hotel. So anyway, let's keep going. And we're going down West 4th Street here. And I'm going to cross the street. I'm going to cross West 4th Street because the building that Bob Dylan lived in happened to have been this one right here. The one with the tic-tac-toe sign on it. There's a store for rent on the bottom. Maybe they should make that a little Bob Dylan museum or something. But you can see here that that is the building that Bob Dylan lived in New York. And he was living here when he recorded his first 2 albums, I think. So he probably came home after the studio and walked up those stairs, entered that door, and went into one of these rooms here. So I think he lived here with his girlfriend, the one on the Freewheelin' Bob Dylan cover, the cover of the Freewheelin' Bob Dylan, that iconic cover. As a matter of fact, that cover was shot right here on Jones Street, right near his house. I think that the photographer came over one day and they took a couple of steps to Jones Street. By the way, this place has been here forever, the Music Inn. And it's like got all these like folk instruments from all over the world. We've got this whatever, crazy music. But this is really sort of also, oh, guitar setup's $50, they'll set up your guitar. So you see all these kind of strange instruments, and this was a very iconic sort of folk music type of place. Here's a wooden Indian carved right here. Anyway, so a lot of head shops around here, by the way, which weren't, you know, that. So anyway, actually they were always here, around here. But this is Jones Street, and this is the street where the Freewheelin' Bob Dylan cover was shot. So just so you know, something to remember or something to look at. Now, over here you'll see that there's a little record store over here. Record Runner. It's actually closed. It actually always seems like it's closed. But if you look in here, you'll see that they have a couple of copies of that album. It's really dark here. I don't know how this is going to come out. The Freewheelin' Bob Dylan. And you see Bob Dylan there with his girlfriend. I hope this is coming good. It's very, very dark here. And then you'll see there's another one over here. So they're sort of like letting, you know, they know that this is the street, and here we go. This is the street that the picture was taken in. Right here. And there you have it. So now you can tell people that, well, this is sort of like the next best thing to actually going here and walking in the footsteps of Bob Dylan, if you are so inclined to do that, if you happen to be a fan. I like Bob Dylan. I think he was one of the most important voices in music, American music. You know, but then again, I like all kinds of music, but Bob Dylan certainly is undisputably one of the greats. So anyway, as you're walking down here, you're coming up to a street called Bleecker Street. And Bleecker Street is also another street sort of in the heart of the village. I remember there actually used to be a record store right here, a really good record store. It's not there anymore, so it had so many records, it was like piled in there, like from top to bottom. It was unbelievable. So here we go, we're getting onto Bleecker Street, and I see that my camera's kind of running out of battery, so I hope it just lasts a little bit longer, because to finish my little sort of tour of what started out to be Greenwich Washington Square Park, and now sort of like Bob Dylan's old neighborhood. There you have John's Pizza. It's still there. This place has been here forever. Seriously, actually it's been there since 1929. It tells you right there. Really, really sort of something that is a fixture of the neighborhood. Coming up around here, we come to like a store right here, which is actually Matt Umanov's Guitars. This has also been here for many years, and actually they sell a lot of great guitars, and they actually sold Bob Dylan's some guitars from what I hear. So you can see that there you have a few there. And if you go over here, you've got this pretty cool double-necked Gretsch, as well as a Gibson hollow body, and another Gretsch red electric, some others here. So Matt Umanov Guitars. Moving up on Bleecker Street, we come over to lots of other places. One place you should go into if you're ever around is Murray's Cheeses over there, which has like a ton of cheese. So if you like cheese, you'll probably want to go to Murray's Cheeses and pick up some cheese. Make sure nobody's coming. Looks all clear. Let's cross the street. Here we go. All right. Here's Murray's Cheeses. And, sorry. Let's open the door. Look at all that cheese. It's like cheese lovers paradise. Very good. And here's some olive oil for you, olive oil fanatics. Okay, moving on our way, keeping on going up Bleecker Street. And I think I'll pause here because it's kind of a little bit of a walk to the next place I want to show you guys. By the way, here we are on Carmine Street. This isn't exactly where I was going, but I just noticed that there is an old record store in case anybody is interested. House of Oldies Rare Records. So, couldn't resist showing that in the video. This place has been here for a while too. So if you're ever on Carmine Street in Greenwich Village, you can pop in here and see what's going on. No CDs, no tapes, just records. Okay, there's a Bob Dylan, there's Patti Smith, there's a Rolling Stones Tattoo You, and you can see that it's closed up right now. I mean, it's closed, it's a Sunday today, so it's all gated, but you know, you can check it out. Back by popular demand, our famous $10 collector's corner. So a lot of records here, so you can check that out. Okay, so here we are back on 6th Avenue, and we've got coming up to the IFC, Independent Film Center, which is a good place to go and see you know, artistic, more like it's an art house theater. So they've got Wiener, Fellini, got all these like cool films you could see here, in case your interests are not just for Hollywood films over there. Now across the street, nothing's really going on today. Let me cross the street real fast because these guys are waiting, and there's a red light here. So, but right over here, there's a basketball court, which they have some crazy games over here. They almost have like, this is almost like a pro level basketball court. There's nothing really going on today, but when they have games here, a huge crowds around this court and watches them play. So If we walk around here now, we see that this is West 3rd Street. And these also had, this was very, very famous during the whole downtown music scene in the past. This is actually where this Three Sheets saloon, or this Fat Black Pussycat, these were really known, I forgot the name of them, but really known folk sort of clubs here. Now this over here is the Blue Note, which is a little jazz club. It's very, very famous. And top guys play here, right here.
But anyway, I'm only
So let's see who's playing. Well, looks like somebody named Hiromi, Japanese, no doubt. There you've got to look at people that are going to come. Lee Rittenauer, Monty Alexander, Bad Frost, Roy Hargrove, Dream Team. So that was the Blue Note. And we're walking up this way. For those who remember, there used to be a record store over here called Bleecker Bob's. It's not there anymore. Here you have some musician, although I'm not really sure how good he is. So we've got coming up onto a street called MacDougal Street over here. And once again, the importance of this street in the whole scene of, like, let's say, the 60s in New York. This used to be lined with little cafes and little joints that live music was at. First, we're coming up onto something called Cafe Reggio, which I don't know if they had live music. They probably did, but it's been here since 1927, and it's kind of like an institution on this street. Cafe Reggio. It's very, very old. It's very old inside as well. Then you have this Cafe Wa, which has become sort of like a tourist attraction, and it's known that Dylan and a lot of other people, I think Hendrix played here as well. You can see there's a picture of Dylan, there's a picture of Hendrix, and it's sort of a tourist attraction here. Cafe Wa on Bleecker Street. So, I'm sorry, MacDougal Street. So I'm going to sort of wrap it up for this little tour of Greenwich Village, downtown, and our look at Washington Square Park, West 4th Street, Jones Street, Bleecker Street, and finally we've got MacDougal Street. Hope you enjoyed this little tour. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, press like and take care. Bye.